the only sanction that will hit Russia at its nerve center is sanctions on oil and gas. So far, all the sanctions have conveniently, because Europe depends on Russia for about a quarter of its oil needs, about 2/3 of its gas needs. So they leave out oil and gas. Meanwhile, that is what will get Putin to begin to pull the brakes. Because if we underestimate what is going on, clearly when you listen to Putin, this is just the beginning. He wants regime change. He doesn't want to see Zelensky in charge of Ukraine. So stop these. I mean, yesterday's sanctions was a joke that you are going to freeze assets of Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, and Putin in Western nations. Where are they traveling to? The people are at war, commanding their troops, and you say that they will care about traveling. You're imposing visa bans, and you are freezing their assets. Big joke. Look, the United States of America has the world's biggest petroleum strategic reserves, over 700 million barrels, if it is really committed to its allies. When you impose sanctions on Russian oil and gas, release some of your strategic reserves. The pipelines have been well, constructed from Louisiana, Texas, all the way to Europe. It's not difficult to achieve if you are really committed to ensure that your allies, Europe, doesn't really bear the brunt. In any case, if Europe and the United States of America feel the heat a bit, isn't it better that we all agree that we suffer some inconvenience now to save lives and to protect the territorial integrity of Ukraine? So I am totally disappointed at these, insincere, sanctions that are being outlined. Then number two, Samson, in this discussion, we need to put the United Nations at the center of blame. We have been talking about UN reforms for decades. Ghana and other countries. How does the United Nations feel when the whole world saw the UN Security Council meeting yesterday? Ironically, Russia has taken its position as chairman of the UN Security Council now. They are chairing the UN Security Council. Their permanent rep vetoed the decision that 16 member countries, including Ghana, has made. The majority of countries at the UN Security Council. But because of the P5, because of the veto of these permanent 5 nations. So you have a 193 member United Nations body and only 5. What the 188 think doesn't matter when only 1. So as it is now, only 1, Russia, yesterday vetoed any progress to be made by the United Nations. So the United Nations has become impotent. It's been rendered toothless. We cannot have a situation where we refuse to reform the United Nations and only 5 member countries take us to ransom. You see how now it's affecting the West and they are complaining about this veto regime. It's the same way in other instances. When it has suited them, you see, either the US or France, take positions against the larger interests of the international community. It is time to democratize the United Nations. Then you see